Hi, it's Russ from Pro Tools Expert, and I've got myself a copy of the NovelTech Vocal Enhancer. And what it basically does is it suggests that where conventional EQ and compression, which basically it just takes the signal in and then it allows you to cut or boost or to add some compression on and have attack time and release time in the compression or cut and boost in the EQ. What this does is it analyzes the signal before it goes in and makes minor adjustments in the background in a psychoacoustic way so that it doesn't work like a conventional EQ. So that's a big claim to make. Can it do what conventional EQ and compression can't do? So I've got a really cool unit here. I've got the Channel G Compact from Mac DSP. It's a wonderful piece of gear. And I've got some compression and some EQ on this. I'm using the A style EQ. In fact, I'll go for the N style on this for this vocal. And this is a perfect track to try this on because it's got a mixture of audio. So let me play you this bit. So I've got some quiet bits here.
Pull me around and pass it on down.
So what you'd often have is things like this.
Pass it on down.
As you can hear, as things get louder and louder, the vocal starts to disappear. So of course there's ways around that. You can do things like ducking the rest of the track. You can ride the fader on the vocal. You can do more EQ and EQ, you could ride the EQ. So you could have bits where you are pushing up the vocal. 5K is about the place to do it on a vocal, really, to get the optimum. Or here.
Pull me around and pass it on down.
Bit of sibilant there, pass it on down, and what of course we could put a de-esser there as well. But of course, the minute you put a de-esser behind, you lose clarity again because it's getting rid of some of the top end. So, can this EQ do? This unit do what conventional stuff can't do? And it describes itself as psychoacoustic. And one thing that used to describe itself as psychoacoustic was the Aphex Oral exciter and most exciters since. So, although this isn't an exciter, it uses the same kind of technologies, and so what you have is you have an enhancement. That's how much it's going to do. We also have a strong and regular processing. We have the focus frequency, the frequency in which it kind of does its stuff around between low and high. Then you have EQ points. You have a low and a high point at which it's going to do most of its work, and then you have these nodes here, and you can move these up and down. They're like resonant frequency adjustments here, and they're worth trying as well. And what's really nice as well is if you hold down the right mouse, you can move these about so that you move around the frequency. So I'm around the frequency, around vocal frequency, where we really need to get some clarity in. So what I'm going to do first is show you in action. There's some presets you can try, and you can store these as well. So you do A-B comparisons. So there's the A and there's the B. Now the other thing as well is one thing I've found which is really useful is to use automation. So I'm going to turn it off for a second on this so it's not doing anything. Is to automate it, because what I found already is this enhancement needs to vary a bit. And what I've also found as well is it's worth pushing lots of audio, and the more audio it's got to work with, the better the processing seems to be. That's not the more enhancement you do, but the more gain going in there in the first place. So it seems to work better, I found, with lots of gain going in. So we can adjust gain in, we can adjust gain out. There's also a gain reduction compressor so that it normalizes it basically as it goes through the process. So let me show you it off first and then back on. So
Pull me around and pass it on down.
So that's clarity, you see. But the minute the band come in, let's play it again now with it in.
Pull me around and pass it on down. Pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. Come on, so pull me around and pass it on down. Don't you let me up now. So pull me around and pass on down, and we'll do
So as you can hear, it is making a difference. So as I say, we've got this kind of focus here that we can use to find the frequencies that really need affecting. And on a vocal, it is around the 5K mark to really get that through.
Pull me around.
And we can move those around.
Pass it on down.
Right mouse.
So pull me around. Pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down.
And this basically gives us more kind of sheen and top end. If we bring it down, it gives us more mid-range.
Pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down.
We've got 12 or 24 dB per octave as well.
Pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down.
Now the thing I was to say, what I've found is that it works even better if you then automate the settings on it. So if I turn this into, now I've got automation on, it's going to dip it here. You can see if I just move my mouse across the timeline here, you can see that there it's low, and then further up here it moves up. So this is with automation.
Pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. Come on, so pull me around and pass it on down. Don't you cut me off now. So pull me around and pass it on down.
So it works. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in the background, but as I say, the resonant can help. These resonant nodes that they talk about, where you can move those around and they will help.
Pull me around,
Grab one of those.
pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. Come on, so pull me around and pass it on down. Don't you cut me off now. So pull me around and pass it on down.
So does it work? Yes, it does. Does it do things that EQ and compressors can't do? It seems to do that as well. I've got virtually everything I want in my arsenal, and this seems to add something else. So it's worth trying out and seeing what you think. It's novel, and I suppose that's great that it's called the NovelTech Vocal Enhancers. So worth trying out. There's one small thing I'm going to feed back to you that I've also already fed back before I even did my review with the automation in Pro Tools right now. It seems that right now you can only write manual automation from the timeline here. So if I use my three-fingered salute and choose the automation, so I've chosen some automation, which also what you'll find if you go into the automation window here, these words don't marry up with these items. So it takes a bit of figuring out what these words are. So if you see that says process and character, that's actually focus and enhancement. And I have emailed them about this, and they said this is to do with keeping it consistent with the original version of it. So that's slightly confusing. What you also find as well is if I put this into write mode to do the automation,
Pull me around and pass it on down.
it's not writing it. Whereas if I go in here and I draw it in, it writes it in. So that needs looking at.
Pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down. So pull me around and pass it on down.
So, as I say, well worth checking out, well worth downloading. I think there's a demo. Check it out, but it does work, and a novel approach to getting your vocals better sat in a mix. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.